I'm going to show you here a way to peel hard-boiled eggs easily. What's important is that we look at the anatomy of the egg. From this Wikipedia schematic, we see that there's an outer membrane, an inner membrane, and an air cell, which separates the two. And this is important because what we're going to do is first hard-boil the eggs. And here I'm using two batches of eggs. One, an old batch, which I'm marking with an O, and the other, a new batch that just came fresh from the grocery store today, and these I'm marking with an N. And after I mark them, I'm putting them in the water on the stove. It's cold water. The heat has not been turned on. And now I'm going to mark the new eggs with an N. And the reason I'm differentiating them is because it's often said that it's easier to peel older eggs and that they're better suited for making hard-boiled eggs. And we'll see if this is true or not. By marking them, we can separate them and we can tell which is which when we're ready to peel them. And so we put them in the cold water, and we turn the heat on and we bring them to a boil. So we just leave it uncovered, turn the heat on, and it will come to a boil. We leave it uncovered. Here are the tools that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using a Stanley scratch-all, because I happen to have it around, and a slotted spoon, and a silicone glove. That's all you need. So, first we bring it to a boil. I'm stirring it a bit so that the eggs cook evenly, but you can still see that some eggs are standing up and others are lying down. Okay, we've got it at a full boil now, and what we're going to do now is cover it turn off the heat, and let it sit for 22 minutes. The 22 minutes have gone by, and now we're about to take the next step. We dump most of the water out. Remember, this is basically boiling water, so you want to be careful. Using the slotted spoon, I pick up an egg. I put it in my gloved hand, and I use the Stanley scratch-all to punch a hole in it. It takes a surprising amount of pressure to put a hole in an eggshell, a small hole in an eggshell. And the reason I use the scratch-all, aside from the fact that I had one around, is that it has a big wooden handle, which allows you to exert a fair amount of pressure. These happen to be grocery store eggs, and they are mass-produced, and they have very thin shells. Free-range chickens often have shells that are very hard, very tough, and very hard to penetrate. And just using a nut pick or some similar pointed instrument won't do it, because you just don't have the power to push it. I'm not differentiating at the moment which are the old and which are the new eggs. Just punching a hole in all of them, and as you can see, it's just a small hole. Now I put it in the water, cold water I've got waiting there, and the point of this is that this hole that I'm punching goes into the air sac. And in the cold water, the egg will shrink. And as it shrinks by capillary action, the water will be drawn into the air sac and around in between the inner and outer membranes. And this provides lubrication. Now here I put the eggs in a rack just to keep straight which are the new ones and which are the old ones. And I'm first starting by peeling the old eggs. They've sat in the water for about 15 minutes so that they got good and cold. And so here's our first old egg. And it peeled off very cleanly. Our next old egg. And it too is peeling off very cleanly. Third old egg. If there's no water in between the two membranes, then the inner and outer membranes stick to themselves, to each other. And when you peel them, they pull away the outer edge of the actual egg. So you wind up with an egg that is very much tatty looking, with pieces missing from the actual white of the egg. Now we're starting with the new eggs. Well, let's see if they peel as well as the old ones do. They shouldn't, because the old wives' tale, or the old husband's tale, is that fresh eggs don't peel as well as eggs that have been around for a while. Well, that one was okay. And here's the next one. And it's okay. And the third one. And it took a little bit more work on this one. But it's okay. And the last one. And it's okay. Now you can see, if you look, that the old eggs have very flat ends on one end, and the new eggs have much more rounded ends. And this doesn't make any difference if you're making egg salad, but if you're going to make deviled eggs where you want a nice presentation, you should probably use the newer eggs, because they will do it. They will look better on the platter. So, punch a hole in the egg, let the water in, and you will have an easy egg to peel.